Yo, what up guys, Mysterious here, and we're back with a new episode on the How to Beat series, and it's Yasuo this time. Very popular champion, especially in the bit lower elos, around gold, platinum. You see a lot of Yasuos run around. And how do we actually get that 0-10 Yasuo power spike in the enemy team? Alright, I'll get it to you. We're gonna start with strengths and weaknesses. So Yasuo in the strengths is very similar to Yone. Good sustain in lane, very mobile. He can hold the wave very well on his side since he has this good sustain. Very easy access to CS due to his low cooldowns and therefore also insane wave clear. So Yasuo is quite an oppressive laner. He's very strong in the 1v1. What is he weak against? First of all, he's a very long cooldown on his W. That's something that we gotta track and keep in mind. He's also in the mid game to late game very team reliant. Yasuo is super hard to execute, especially without any knockups. Because he's so linear in team fights and he can't really flank, he can't really front to back. It's hard to play Yasuo in team fights, hence is why he's very team reliant. And if we're even, we beat him. His shield's very linear and abusable. He's also quite committal by the fact that he's gotta go in to deal damage to you. He struggles thinning big waves. He's weak to ganks because when the wave's pushed in, when it's on our side, he can't thin the big waves, and hence is why he's quite susceptible to junglers. He also doesn't have any dashes to really escape ganks. So what does Yasuo want to do? Yasuo in the lane wants to kill you 1v1. How does he do this? If we have the mid lane right here, right, tower, let's draw the lane here. This is the center of the lane, this is the river here. Alright, what Yasuo wants to do is he wants to build a minion lead on your side so that he can hold the wave around here. And once the wave is around here, what he tries to do is he tries to all-in you or make short trades with you by dashing through these minions right onto you and then go back if he needs to go back. And he wants to kill you. He first wants to poke you out a few times until he can kill you, and he wants to hold the wave on your side, so you are forced to walk up on the long lane. Because Yasuo wants the long lane to chase you down and kill you eventually. So he does this by holding wave on the side, then trading, all-inning. He also wants to isolate the lane, because his 2v2 isn't too good, but he's especially weak to ganks, and he has to go in to damage you. So if there's someone else, he can't really do that. So that's not really what Yasuo wants. And one thing to really keep in mind is he goes in with his passive. If his passive is up, he goes in. If it's not up, it's not really worth for him to go in because he will take a lot of damage from minions and from you as well that is hitting him in that case. So keep this in mind. If he doesn't have passive up, he will probably not go in. So how do we actually beat Yasuo? First of all, we avoid playing his game. We want to make sure that we don't get the wave stuck on his side. And this means for us, try to hold the wave on our side, or we slow build big waves. Because if we slow build big waves, it's hard for him to thin and hard for him to hold. So best case scenario, we hold the wave on our side. We poke him down when he tries to shove it out, or we call our jungler, especially when the wave is on our side, to gank him whenever he tries to shove it out because he's very vulnerable in that situation. That's basically Yasuo's worst nightmare. Is it possible to beat Yasuo 1v1? It is. Do I recommend it? No. With the jungler, it's 10 times easier, and if we get a lead, he struggles very hard because then he cannot all-in us, and that's when we actually can beat him 1v1. But before that, it's very hard. And that's why I said usually being even is enough to beat him, since he's also very hard to execute in the mid to late game in the team fights. It's super hard to play Yasuo consistently and well. Also, play around his passive and W. Track it, burst the passive when it's up, because if he doesn't have the passive, he has a harder time going in onto you. So, I'm going to give you an example on Chovy Orianna versus Yasuo in Korean Challenger, and discuss how Chovy plays this lane and see how he actually beats the Yasuo. So we can see Chovy Orianna against Yasuo, and Yasuo has Ignite. So Chovy's game plan here is to 3-stack a wave and then bounce it back to our side to hold it. Because Chovy knows that if he's even or if he's if he has the wave on his side, Yasuo cannot beat him, and hence we beat Yasuo, and that's what we were trying to achieve. So I'll speed this up by going a bit forward because we get the idea of it. What Chovy does is here he makes sure that he gets a nice wave for a possible 3-stack, but what Yasuo does is he thins it that much that the wave doesn't get to a 3-stack, but that's fine because Chovy still gets what he wants. He still gets the wave pushing back into him. As we can see, slight minion lead for the Yasuo. We just let it play out real quick. Yasuo has been unable to do anything with his level 2, level 3 power spike since the waves was too big for him to engage onto Chovy, and the waves now coming back into Chovy. Yasuo has to use all his resources, including his W, to make sure to shove out this wave, else this wave is being held by Chovy. And what we can see, his jungler comes, perfect timing, because look at the wave. We thin it, jungler drags the wave, waves on Chovy's side. Yasuo is in trouble right now, he's in a very vulnerable position. So he comes back, Yasuo misses a lot of creeps, doesn't miss XP, but as we can see, Yasuo it's very awkward. Pretend Yasuo, it's very awkward in this situation. Yasuo has to use all his abilities and passive as well to get this wave in again. Chovy tries to hold it, he succeeds somewhat. Why he does this? Eventually this will slow build into Yasuo, but this is enough for Chovy, because when these minions don't crash, either the wave will slow build big into Yasuo where he cannot really thin it, or Yasuo has to get the next wave out, which he basically can't because the wave is under Chovy's tower. So the wave is in a perfect position for Chovy here, and Yasuo really struggles. And as you can see, Chovy stays safe all the time. Yasuo is not in a position to beat him, and even while Yasuo has Ignite, Chovy has TP, Chovy is being completely safe. So Chovy gets a nice wave starting to get for a build. He understands that Yasuo wants to go in, he respects it, and now the wave is in a pretty awkward position for Chovy because Yasuo is thinning it with all of his abilities, and Yasuo is slowly able to hold it on the side. Chovy's out of mana. So what's the next step? Because this is maybe the most vulnerable position that Chovy will be in this lane. What he does is, very smartly, calls his jungler. Because he knows the wave is in an awkward position. This is basically the only time in the lane that Yasuo has an advantage over Chovy and can actually kill him. So he calls his jungler to hover, help him shove the wave out. He bases, TPs, and he's basically won the early lane. He's even now, he can scale, and he can basically minimize and manipulate the waves that he wants to. He has enough mana to actually start poking the Yasuo right now, and Chovy's in a very happy position. If you can replicate this, you can beat Yasuo consistently. So I want to thank you guys for watching this video, and I hope you have a great day. I'll see you real soon.